What's going on, y'all? Robert Sykes, KetoSavage.com. Today I've got special guest and good friend Will Anthony on the line. He is the brains behind Ozark Iron Gym, which is where I train. Wanted to bring him on the show, talk about gym, talk about business, talk about life. Thoroughly enjoy the conversation. I've got no doubt that you will take something from it, especially if you aspire to own a gym someday. So without further ado, sit back, relax, and enjoy the conversation with my good friend Will. And we are live. Will, how are you, brother?
Hey, I'm doing good, man. How about you?
Good. So we're going to talk about gym etiquette. We're going to talk about all kinds of good stuff. But before we do, give the listeners a little background as to who you are. You're the man behind Ozark Iron Gym, which is where I train frequently. Right. So what is Ozark Iron Gym?
Ozark Iron Gym is just an old school lifting facility. No bullshit. It's just about getting back to the basics, picking up free weights, doing the work, right? And then we've lost that kind of culture, right? It's started moving towards, more box gyms and more commercialized places that are really just fitness centers. And so when I opened Ozark, that's what it was all about. It's about the vibe too, right? It's the people in there. Everybody's in there getting after it. There's no clocks, right?
No lunk alarms?
No lunk alarms, right? Yeah. You're in there to work. And so, that's what people do in there, which is great. And I love the environment.
Yeah. And you opened that 6 years ago now, I think?
Yeah, 2016, December 2016. Yeah.
That's crazy, man.
Yeah.
And you opened it, like you launched in 2016, and you had that building that you were leasing.
Yeah.
Had all kinds of leaks in it, all kinds of bullshit. And you were there until here recently.
It had character.
Yeah.
I was stuck in that lease for 5 years. So, it was all new to me. I don't know much about business. I just kind of knew what I wanted to do with a gym, and I knew I could do that well. And so, I got into a lease in a building that wasn't so great. But honestly, the community and the guys and girls that showed up to support it, they realized the situation. And it kind of became a thing where it was kind of a badge for them to say, like, I work out there. There's no AC. There's no heat. It leaks, it's grungy.
Yeah.
And so a lot of guys really flocked there just because of that. And then I think it just developed a culture which allowed us to grow. And then I had a wonderful opportunity last year to move buildings, and it's so much better. I mean, you've been there.
Yeah,
it's night and day. Showers, locker rooms, heat and air.
Yeah.
More space, more equipment. And so
what were you doing before the gym? Before you launched the gym, what were you doing?
Personal training.
Yeah. And where at?
Everywhere. Yeah.
And what were you doing before that?
The military.
Yeah. So personal training, I'm assuming you're pretty active, physically active in the military, like you trained and everything.
Yeah, absolutely.
So you fell in love with the art of training.
I did, yeah. And then, so, when I got out, I wanted to do my undergrad in kinesiology. So I wanted to dive more into how can I make this better instead of just the bro science behind it. Like, I'm not do push every day, right? Not do chest 3 times a week, right? And so, I wanted to learn about how my body worked and how I could help other people's bodies work, right? Part of the joy for me with training is being able to help someone achieve something, right? Take something and then see those results, see the improvements. And I think that's the drug or the draw to that is I can see someone and I can turn them into something better, right? Just by guiding them and helping them understand themselves, right? And how they should train. And so when you see that in somebody and they just start feeding off of that, like you feed off of that, right? It's awesome. So,
when you started doing that, you started training, going and training at all these different facilities that let you train there. You can get a pretty hands-on feel for what you liked, what you didn't like, what you wanted to build yourself.
Absolutely, right? So you get a vibe for the area. And I don't know if you remember then, but it was World's Gym, Fitness for Less, Powerhouse.
Powerhouse was my jam, man. That's
Powerhouse was my jam.
Yeah.
I actually loved Powerhouse.
Yeah.
And honestly, Ozark is kind of a throwback to that too, as well as just, the original golds, like the original golds. But yeah, it's a throw to that kind of just that vibe, that feel. And Powerhouse is an awesome spot. It sucks that it kind of fell apart. But,
well, the owner was pretty bad. He was taking a bunch of the money for his drug abuse, right? I think that's what I heard.
That's the story.
That's the story.
That's the story out there.
Probably not a good business decision.
It's probably not a good business decision. Yeah, I'd heard from a couple guys that worked there that he would come in and just literally pull money out of the register and walk out. It's like, wow, I can't do that.
Yeah,
right?
it's not good.
Yeah.
But that gym was legit, man.
It was legit.
They had a basement section. You walk down those stairs, like old gloomy, dark lit alley.
Right.
You walk down there, it's like a totally different vibe in the basement.
Right.
And that's pretty much like the Ozark vibe is the basement vibe.
Yeah. That's right. Honestly, I'll say it this way. The original Ozark was the basement vibe. Ozark now is kind of like a nice, happy medium, right? We still have a room basically now once you go through underneath that walkway where it's the deadlift platforms, and we've got just some regular speakers set up with Bluetooth that anybody can hook their phone to. Like, that's the original Ozark too, is anybody can play their own music, whatever, any time of the day. We would just let people choose the music.
We're going to be playing this podcast next time I train there, right? We're
Yeah,
plug that in, let that
I'll
be
just
playing.
plug it in and blast it. But yeah, man, so I mean, the vibe was just, that grunge feel, and I loved that. And when that went away, and pretty much then all we had was Worlds, Fitness for Less, Planet came in.
What was the one that, because when I was at Powerhouse, everybody that had membership there was automatically pushed towards.
Yeah, it was Fitness
was
for
that
Less.
Fitness for Less?
Yeah, because that's where I got transferred.
That was some bullshit, man.
And
because
yes.
I moved to Washington State after I graduated college for the railroad, and they would not let me breach that membership for a year and a half, and I wasn't even living in the same state.
Those dudes are like used car dealers, bro.
Yeah, man. So, it was not a good situation.
It was not a good situation. Yeah. The great part about that was I learned a lot of what not to do.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, obviously, a lot of it's just common sense of what not to do. Just be better. But you see how these businesses were operating and how they weren't replacing equipment, weren't repairing equipment, weren't buying quality equipment or bars, right? And you have these annual fees that come out of every gym. And I think really what set us apart when we came on the scene is I just stood behind my word. I was like, do you want this? And they said, yeah. And I'm like, okay, well, I'll buy it. And I bought it. And they're like, oh my gosh, this guy buys stuff. I'm like, why wouldn't I? Like, you guys want it, we're going to buy it. And so we've been doing that since we opened. And we buy stuff every 6 months. And we just base it off what our members want and what they like. And I think that's the business model for a gym like ours that makes it successful. And what allows us to compete against something else is our cost points are going to be higher than your box gyms and your fitness centers, absolutely. But you're going to get what you pay for because we're going to have quality bars and equipment. We're going to have a quality training environment. And if that's what you're looking for, if you want to push yourself further, then that's where you're going to go. Otherwise, there's other places to go.
When you were training, were you just like racking up money, saving that so you can put all this down towards opening up your gym, or was that, I would imagine, pretty scary? You had to go get a big loan or something?
Yeah, man, I'm not great with that either. So I was actually married, and most of my money was just going into my wife and my stepson at the time. And so, I wasn't really planning on opening a gym. I just knew I wanted to, right? Like in the back of my mind, I was like, I can do this and I can do this better. My fear was I don't want to expose my family like to that kind of possible failure, right? Like this could fail, right? And I don't want to do that. And so when me and her split, it was actually a great deal because it was on me. I had nothing to lose, right? It was just me. And so actually I had to lean my house against the loan.
Wow.
Because I
pretty ballsy.
Yeah.
I like it.
It worked out so I could say ballsy now. Probably a pretty dumb move at the time, but I just believed in it, right? And I believed in it so wholeheartedly, and I know that I'll put the work in. And I think that that's one of the hardest things for people to do for themselves is just put the work in. Things can be achieved. It's just going to take a lot of effort. So
you and I have talked about this multiple times because you and I have trained together several times at Ozark, and it's like we'll get done working out and then we'll talk business afterwards. And we're speaking the same tune. Like Crystal and I lived in the warehouse that we were at previously for 3 years.
Right.
I mean, most people are not going to do that shit.
No,
they're just not going to do it.
They're not. I lived in the first gym. Basically, I was there 17 and a half hours a day. I'd sleep there sometimes. I'd just go home to feed my dog.
Yeah.
And, when the gym was super small and I knew everybody by name, I'd be like, hey, I'm going to go feed my dog real quick. Will you just watch the front?
Yeah.
And I'd leave for 20 minutes to go feed my dog and then come back. Yeah, nobody's going to do that.
Yeah, but I love it, man. Like those stories, like some of the shit that Crystal and I have done,
right?
Some of the stuff that you've done, it's like it makes no sense. Like a rational thinking person would be like, yeah, I don't want any part of that. I'm gonna go ahead and just go get my 9-to-5 job, do my thing, collect my paycheck, and clock in, clock out, and be done with it. But like when you live and breathe it, when you're passionate about it, you sleep there. I mean, like people brag about their work day being 8-10 hours.
Sure.
I did a 17.5 hour work day today, and that's not uncommon for me.
No, that's the day, right? That's the job. And that's honestly, I think it's like who I am too. Like I would prefer to be doing that.
Yeah.
Because I feel like if I'm not doing that, I'm not doing enough, right?
And when you're doing it for your own thing, it doesn't really wear you down. No. I mean, it energizes you. I mean, there's definitely times where you're freaking worn down, but you're working towards something that you can feel good about, and because of that, it kind of like refuels you. So,
it's a purpose, right? You're working towards a purpose a vision that you see, right? Like I see something for myself, and then I just keep moving the goalpost, and I know you do too, right? Yeah. If I hit something, I'm like, oh, cool, we got that. Well, now we're gonna move towards this, right? We're moving towards the next thing. I'm not gonna stay right here.
It's one. I'm sure we're probably the same here, but like we hit that goal. We don't really even take the time to celebrate hitting that goal. It's like, all right, that's cool. Now what's the next thing?
Now what's the next thing? Right.
But I wouldn't know how to do it any other way.
No, and I don't think that you can do it any other way. Yeah. Right.
There's no finish line. There's no now let's just relax moment. There's no like, okay, now let's just go on the beach, sip on Mai Tais and stuff. It's like it's always the journey, because you fall in love with the journey so much more so than the actual end goal, because there is no end goal.
And that's really well said. And I think I've heard somebody quote that before. It's like if you go into something looking for the destination, you're never going to reach it.
Yeah.
But if you go into something looking for the journey and the experience, you're going to, right? You're going to achieve everything, because you're just in love with the process versus saying, I want these things, right? And I mean, maybe you can achieve those things, maybe, but at what cost to you, and then what's your mindset to obtain that, right?
Yeah.
If your mindset's just these things, what do you do once you get them?
Yeah. And I think when it comes to building something like a business and having a specific goal with these things in mind, you got to strive to reach those pinnacles while never sacrificing your integrity to get there. Because I feel like in business, the moniker is oftentimes that you have to stab people in the back to make it in business. Sure. And maybe you do to like reach a certain level, but I'm proud to say that I've never done that.
Right.
And I'm totally cool not reaching the upper echelon if it means I never have to stab somebody in the back to get there.
I 100% agree. Like I'm never going to be like a wealthy man because I'm never going to step on somebody else. Like we're just going to do things the way I think that they should be done, and we're just going to be transparent about it. Now, some people may not like that, and we still have, problems and issues, but I know at the end of the day I can look at myself in the mirror because I'm doing things the way I think that they should be done, right? The right way. Yeah.
At what point in building the business over the past 6 years did you feel like pretty confident and just solid in the business when it wasn't such a grind or hustle? Or are you still working to get there?
Man, that's always a grind.
It's always a grind, yeah.
But I think where I felt like I could take a little bit of a breather was when we hit year 3. That was our first profitable year. Mm-hmm. And I was like, oh man, this is great. Like, we're not scraping. So that was cool. That was kind of but in the same sense that we were just talking about, as soon as I hit that, I'm like, cool, it's a breathable moment. Now what do I need to do to get above that, right? Yeah. And I was already looking ahead at year 5, like I can't be in this building. We have to find a way out. So then that was like, we need to grow at this rate. We need to be at these numbers. I need this much money for a down payment. We need to move to another building. Yeah. And so that was the push there. And then in the new building, now it's like, well, now we got to pay for the larger space. So what does that look like? And so it's a constant grind. And I don't think I'll ever be at a place where I'm like, yeah, this is good.
Yeah, for sure. And you probably wouldn't ever want to be, because then you're not as hungry.
No.
And I think people like you and I, like we crave feeling hungry.
I got to feel like I'm doing something. Yeah.
So when it comes to business and when it comes to opening a gym as a business, like I've heard, it's like the multiple gym owners, a lot of people that have gotten out of the gym space, and they're like, man, there's no money in owning a gym. It's not profitable. It's a pain in the ass. You got to deal with a bunch of bullshit. Go the other way.
Right.
What's your take on that?
I don't disagree. I think it has to be something that you actually love, because I'm never going to be bringing home any kind of money to be, excited about. Yeah. it's more to me about creating a space that is improving the community.
Yeah.
If that makes sense. Like at the end of the day, man, every day above ground for me is a blessing at this point. So if I've got a roof over my head and I got food for me and my wife and my daughter, like I'm good.
Yeah.
I don't really need anything else. I don't need anything fancy. I don't want it. I just want to be able to at the end of the day to have something that meant something to someone else, right?
Yeah.
Does that make sense? And so, yeah, there's no money in a gym, not unless you monetize it in a way where, you know, it's classes and it's like selling out packages and selling out we don't do any of that stuff. And that's really the only way, because you're not going to make money off of the memberships. You're just not, because that's going to be to maintain your space, to maintain your equipment, to do your payroll. It's all going that way. And so, you know, unless you figure out a different revenue stream, and most places end up doing, you know, again, class work or yoga or spin, or they have instructors or they sell packages, and that works out for them. I don't like that business model, because I think it's very transactional.
Yeah.
And you don't really get to know anyone, and they don't really get to understand how to work out for themselves.
Yeah.
And so I would rather somebody be able to come into our space and me or whoever could see them and say, hey, you should try this. And they're like, oh, cool. Because we used to do that thing, and I just haven't been on social media as much because I've been watching my kiddo. But like we used to do thing Workout Wednesday every Wednesday, and I would post something and like, hey, try this, right? And then we would do like split Mondays. And so I would put out something on Monday that was an actual tire split for a body group, right? And then try this, you know? And I'd see people trying it in the gym, which is awesome, right? That's what I'm aiming for. The monetary thing is like, I hope it comes at some point, but I'm okay with it not.
I think that's important, man. Like this business, like Keto Brick, for instance, is not a very profitable business. Right. I personally lose money on Keto Brick. Like I put my own personal money into Keto Brick.
I understand, man.
But I take pride in seeing people all over the world eat these things.
That's right. And
it adds value to their life. And I love to be able to create a community locally. Like I love that my crew is here. It seems that my crew likes working here.
Right.
I know Chip, you like working here? All right, he says yeah. So it feels good there. So I like that aspect of it. And if I never become a billionaire off of Keto Brick, I'm fine with that. Because like you said, I got a roof over my head. I got food in the freezer. Crystal is happy. Rigel's happy.
Right.
I mean, what else do you need? I feel like a lot of people get into business with these delusions of grandeur.
100%.
And they chase. I was talking about this to Crystal probably the other day. The people that are ultra wealthy, oftentimes, not all the time, but oftentimes, their health is in disarray, or their relationships are in disarray, or both.
Right.
But they've got a lot of money. A lot of people have great relationships, great health, but no money. It's like those three things seem to be like the trifecta that people have a hard time acquiring.
Yeah.
But if you have health, which in the gym business, we try to make that just part of it.
Absolutely.
And if you got a good relationship and you got enough to have everything, all of your basic needs met, and enough to get by.
Right.
I mean, I'm thinking you're winning.
Right. I mean, it's all about perception.
Yeah.
Right. If you spend all day pouting about what you don't have, well, yeah, you're gonna be in a pretty bad mood.
Yeah.
But if you look at the blessings you have, I mean, the things that you just listed, Crystal, your son, your business, right?
Yeah.
Your health, your crew, like those are blessings, man, and those are things that somebody can't take from you.
Yeah,
right?
100%. And that is another topic right there, man.
Right.
Building something that people can't take from you.
That's right.
And like, I mean, I guess they could foreclose on the building. Like, it's like something could happen.
Something good, yeah.
But I feel like when you start a business, it's scary because like there's no safety net per se. There is no plan B. We were talking about that one day at the gym. There's no plan B. Like we got plan A, and we're doubling down on that.
Yeah.
But like I feel more secure doing this than if I was to work somewhere else, because it's like I reap what I sow. I live and die by my own doing.
Right.
And I'm always going to bet on me.
Right.
As opposed to some other entity that dictates what I do with my life,
You're just a number to anybody else, right? Especially with any kind of corporate job, right?
Yeah.
You might be able to go right now and make six figures at a corporate job just with experience, but you could also be replaced like that. And so what is that? Where's the value in that, right?
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, the numbers sound great. Where's the substance? It doesn't exist.
100%. Yeah. Let's talk about some gym In working in the gym for 6 years and owning
Yeah.
the gym for 6 years, you've probably seen all kinds of shit, man.
You've
You've seen people that know what they're doing. You've seen people that don't know what they're doing. One of the few funny Instagram profiles that I follow is the ones where like they have all the epic gym fails, people doing dumb stuff.
Yeah.
Do people do that at your gym?
You know,
not as bad.
Not as bad. I mean, honestly, the worst scenario I've ever seen in our gym was there was a guy and he was starting to squat with a deadlift bar. And of course I caught him very quickly. And I went over there and I was like, hey brother, what are you doing? He's like, I'm about to squat. And I said, not with that bar. And he goes, why not? And I said, that's a deadlift bar, man. It's got so much whip. This is dangerous, right?
Yeah.
It's got no center knurling. Like, this is not for that. You need one of these power bars. And he's like, okay. He starts stripping the weight. And I said, just out of curiosity, why did you think that this was a good idea? And he said, well, I deadlifted with it the other day, and it felt great. So I thought I'd squat with it. And so, yeah, that logic, I was like, man, yeah, I mean, it's a deadlift bar. That's why you deadlifted with it so well.
Yeah.
But, yeah, that's the silliest thing I've ever seen. Well, that and somebody trying to use a deadlift jack that a buddy of mine had made these two separate pieces of steel, you know, so on one end and the other. They were nice because you could just move it, put it on whatever bar you wanted to. It wasn't center loaded. Mm-hmm. And I saw a guy trying to put it dead center in a bar and trying to balance the weight. Instead of using both of them, he just put one of them. Well,
Not too bright.
I mean, you can't make that shit
Not
up
too
too
bright. I do. Speaking of deadlift jacks, I like those little things you just roll it on top of.
So yeah, I mean,
what
that's
are those
what
called?
dead wedge,
Dead
and we
wedge.
use those now more than anything. You just roll it on that center plate, and it's so much easier. You just unload, offload everything up to bigger than 135, and then you just peel the plates at the end. It's not hard at all.
Have you had many people using your bumper plates with your iron plates on the deadlift here lately?
Not lately, I mean, you're always gonna have to police somebody. It's the thing about it is, man, you got to take it with a grain of salt. It's ignorance. It's not malicious, right? So they're not doing something because they're trying to break something. They're doing something because no one has ever shown them, right? No TikTok video has ever shown them how to, load a bar with plates versus loading with bumpers, and why you wouldn't want to do that. And that's to another point. And we were talking about it before this started. It's just the issue to me that we have to police up so much stuff on is there's so much terrible content that gets released, and there's really no filter for that. Mm-hmm. And so people see things, these 30-second clips, fast shots with people doing weird stuff with different handles. And a lot of times people are using weird stuff because they're in a commercial space that doesn't have a lot of specialized handles or equipment or bars. And so they have to try to come up with a weird way to hit or isolate. And so I'll see that in the gym sometimes, and that does super piss me off because we have everything that they need. Yeah. They don't have to do weird stuff. Or
your fabric grips.
That's right.
People trying to do neutral grips.
We literally have multiple neutral grip bars. Yeah. And somebody was using the D handles with the fabric where it's sewed, hanging it from it because they saw it on something else, right? And then hanging it from the knurling of the bar and pulling on it, and it's popping the fabric off. It's annoying because they don't know any better, and someone else is putting up that content and they're going, oh, that's what you do. And it's like, no, man. You just need to ask questions in the gym, honestly. Like, that's your best resource. That's the biggest takeaway that I could say for anybody. If you don't know what you're doing, don't go to social media. Go to your group, right? Go to where you're working out. Find somebody in there that looks like they know what they're doing. Yeah. And ask them questions. Because I would say 10 out of 10, that person's going to be responsive, nice, willing to help. The big dudes, the strong dudes, the guys that have experience.
What's that guy's name? JD? Is that his name?
JD.
He's a freaking monster, man. He asked me, he was doing deadlifts the other day. He had like 800 pounds on the bar. Yeah. He's like, hey, man, can you come up and just slap the shit out of me 3 times? And I'm like, sure, man. So I just slapped the hell out of him. Right. And that's how we met. But he's super cool dude.
He's super cool guy, super strong. But that's what I'm talking about, man. Like Eric Blanton, too. Like, he's awesome. He squats just ridiculous amounts of weight in there. Nicest guy ever, older guy. And, even when at the old building when we had, Nick Ramey, Gabe, all those guys, Tristan Oakley, like, they know what they're doing. They look intimidating because they're crazy strong, but they're the nicest dudes ever. And they 100% want to tell you how to do it because they wish somebody had told them. You know, I wish somebody had told me. I wish I hadn't had to learn it the hard way, right?
The people that are typically assholes in the gyms are the ones that don't have confidence.
Correct.
Whereas if you're one of the biggest guys in the gym and you're pulling all kinds of crazy weight, like that builds your internal confidence.
100%.
And then if you're confident, you have no reason to be an asshole.
Yeah, right.
You know?
Yeah, what are you trying to prove?
Yeah.
Nothing. You don't have to, right? A shark doesn't need to go around and tell everybody it's a shark, right? You just know.
Yeah. And
so those guys know what they are. They don't need somebody to affirm that for them.
Yeah.
So they're willing to help, 100%.
What's the I'm assuming like a pretty good percentage of the population that goes to your gym is all students.
It is now. Yeah, it is.
Students in session. Is that a good thing? I mean, it's a good thing you get that business, but is that overall a good thing or a bad thing?
Man, I think it's a double-edged sword. I got to look at it this way, and I had to come to grips with it. If we can take a handful of those kids and they come out of there with better knowledge on bodybuilding or better knowledge on powerlifting, and they're training right, eating right, and they're growing, you know, not only as individuals, right, from just, you know, their life, but in the gym, that's good. Mm-hmm. The rest of it kind of sucks because, you know, you'll have a lot of the guys that are just coming in there in large groups doing the same thing they've been doing for the past 3 years. They don't have any really regimented plan. They don't really want to hear what your plan is or how to help them, and they'll look the same, right?
I'm assuming all the guys with the shirts off are all students, right? Those are typically students?
Yeah, I mean, nowadays, right? At the old building, everybody had their shirt off because it was 100 degrees in there.
Right.
This building, there's no need to do it, but, you know, they love it. And what's crazy to me is the confidence that some of these kids have to take their shirts off.
Strutting around, man.
That probably shouldn't take their shirts off, right? I mean, like, you know, more power to them, you know. I know, like, and you compete, right? So, like, you understand that mindset. Is when I was getting ready for, like, a show or something like that, I was in a hoodie. I was in long pants. Mm-hmm. I would only peel it when it was time to pose, right? And test and see where I'm at. And then I put everything back on. It's not a show. It's like I'm preparing for this one thing, this day on stage. I'm not in here in the gym trying to get looks. Right? Yeah. And so it's funny to me, a lot of these younger kids are in there popping their shirts off, I think trying to get looks. But, you know, there's guys that are way more shredded and way bigger in our gym.
No, for sure, man. Yeah. I feel like if you have your shirt off, you're looking at the mirror. Whereas if you're totally covered, you're concentrating more on how the muscle feels.
100%, man.
And that's going to be way better
mind-muscle
for you.
connection, right? Yeah.
But I like you've got banners everywhere in the gym. You got the one that's the Wi-Fi password, which is ain't nothing but a peanut, which is a very great Wi-Fi password. But you've also got gym etiquette signs. What do those say? Like, she's not here for you, bro, or something like that?
We only have 3 gym rules, and it's, you know, put your shit back, basically, is what it says. Like, if you get something out, put it away. The other one is respect somebody else. So, like, if somebody's working on something and you need it, you just ask to work in. Like, that is gym 101, and it's been lost over the years, right? But I mean, I grew up that way. So if somebody's on something that you need, you just say, hey man, can I work in with you? And nobody in my gym is going to say no. And if they do, we'll talk to them. And then, the third rule is that she's here to lift. She's not here for you. Because the women that go to my gym are there to lift weights.
Yeah.
And I think that's the other thing too, that's kind of, you know, the word's gotten around now that we've been around long enough that girls know that I'm no nonsense with that. If somebody's actually harassing you, you know, not just trying to like talk to you or just being annoying, but if somebody's actually harassing you, we'll just kick them out.
Yeah.
There's no questions. It's like, bye.
I haven't really seen a whole lot of that. Like everybody, when I'm there, everybody doesn't really try and do anything.
No, I mean, not anymore, man. We probably dealt with that a handful of cases the first couple of years. You know, there's got to be one. Yeah. You know, and I think that, again, once word got around that, like, Will's not going to fuck around with that. He's going to actually do something about it. Then it didn't happen anymore.
That's good. That's good. With all your equipment, you got pretty much all Legend equipment. The Legend piece that I got was inspired because I was training at your gym, and you have Legend equipment. What's the best equipment that y'all have put in there? Like, what's been the best bang for your buck? And then what's the absolute worst that you would have never bought again? Okay. Yeah, I can do that. The prone row, best piece ever, right? It's so simple. It's such a small footprint.
It's a great back piece.
The prone row. That's one with the hole in it?
It looks like a massage table. It's got a seal row. Yeah, and it's also a seal row. It's got a hole in it. Yeah, it's just
that thing is brutal, man.
It's brutal, but it's an awesome back piece, right? You can high row with it. You can mid row with it. You can basically do pullovers with it by pulling the bar stiff. It's awesome. So I love that piece.
I don't see any people using it. I use it to like put my stuff on top of sometimes.
I don't see a lot of people use it either because I think that they're like, a lot of the younger guys it's the ego lift, right? They want to be able to move weight. Yeah. And when they get on that thing, they can't move a lot of weight.
25 pounds on each side of the bar is a workout on that thing. Right. You know, you can't, there's no momentum.
No, there's no cheating it. It's great. And so I think that people avoid it because of that. I think it's a great piece. Another piece that I think is great and underutilized is that one where you can do split squat, push press, lunges. You can do RDLs. You can do all of it on that one piece with the little lever arms.
What is that piece called? I know what you're talking about.
I can't remember what the dang thing is called, but yeah, it's a legend piece. But it's great. It's a selector edge piece off their series there. It's an awesome piece. And the sad part is I do see people use it, but they're always like shrugging on it. I'm like, it's got so much potential. There are guys that have been there a long time, and I talked to them. Yeah, there's a couple guys that talked to me about it that they love it because they do use it for all those other things. Absolute worst piece is probably the good girl, bad girl machine, the hip abduction, adduction that I bought, the combo. Really? I think that because I think it was just, I don't think buying combo machines are ever good because it's only going to do one of those things well. Yeah. I did it as a space saver. And then also I think the design on it made it tough because, guys are in there moving 300 pounds for, hip abduction, adduction, and the steel started to bend on me over time. So we reinforced it, and it's just had a lot of problems. So if I was to do that over, I would just buy those as two separate pieces.
Yeah. I do think that movement is a great movement. You 100%. Don't see a lot of guys doing that movement.
A lot of my guys do it. But it's all my power guys mostly. Yeah. But I mean, I do it too. It's great.
Have you seen, like, you can do the abductor with your body weight just by putting your leg on a bench and then kind of like planking on the ground basically, and just using, I'll have to show you in the gym in a second. It's pretty brutal, man. Like it's such a large muscle in your leg. And people aren't typically training it right.
And you got to think about that too. Is like, that's a stabilizer muscle, right? For whether I'm deadlifting or squatting, I need those muscles to be worked. I need them to be active. I need them to be strong. And so, like, where's your failure point on any lift? It's going to be what's nearest to the joint, right? And so, that's where you're going to have a failure point on your squat is in your hips. Yeah. So, yeah.
On your leg press, you have the isolated pads. Yeah. You can do one or the other. Yeah. Do you like that, or do you like having the one solid big foot pad?
I wish I had both because I think that there's a point to having both. I think you can. What's cool about the one that you can split is it's great to do single leg work. It's smooth. It's really nice. I don't think it's great for the double press because it kind of wiggles around, right? Yeah. And so I wish I had both. Maybe I will. Probably sooner than later. Right?
But you're running out of space, man. How many racks you got now? You got like more racks than anybody.
I have 12 racks.
12 racks.
Yeah, 12 racks, 8 flats, or maybe 10. I think it's 8 flats and 2 incline. Yeah.
Nice.
And then 2 different comp benches. Yeah. And 2 cable crosses. Actually 3 now. 3.
Yeah. You just get a third?
I did this fall. I bought a third one.
So do you have like what's on the wish list now as far as next purchases go?
I will check with the members, and there's no BS. Like I will put out a poll and see what people really want. And I'm always kind of checking with people in the gym too, asking them, hey, what are we missing, or what piece do you wish we had? And so, like, word around the campfire is that people want more selectorized chest and shoulder machines, which I don't disagree with. And so for me, and I think that's the right way to go anyway, is that we need more of the bodybuilding specific equipment. We have so much power movement. We do have selectorized equipment. It's just not a whole lot of it. So my goal is to fill out that back room now with just rows of selectorized equipment that's more isolation movement for all the parts.
I love the plate loaded dip machine.
Me too, called. And no one ever uses that either.
Really? I use the hell out of that thing.
It's wild, bro. Like the things that I think are so good, and I'm like, oh man, why aren't you using this? And I think it's just, again, it's one of those things where, kids, the generation now, it just seems like they're intimidated to even ask a question or to even try it.
Yeah.
And so they just avoid it. And I don't know what they're afraid of. Like just, if I'm using it, especially like just come over and be like, oh, hey, what is that doing? Or, why are you doing this versus that? I think it's awesome, especially facing away. It's really good.
Yeah, with like triceps, like most things that you train triceps on, if you're going heavy, like you're not going to really be able to lock in and push heavy because like you start, like if I'm doing rope extensions, I'm kind of capped out there. But with that, you can load 3 plates on each side and then you're going to town on them.
Right, and then it's not going to put as much stress, right, on the secondary, which is like your front delt or even kind of chest pressure, right? Like you're not going to recruit anything from that because of the positioning. I'm with you. It's way better. It's an isolation movement. It's awesome.
Yeah. What about, so you've had multiple gyms come and go. We had Powerhouse to close before you opened Ozark.
Yeah.
Is Fitness for Less, are they even open still or no?
No, they basically, I would say we inadvertently put Worlds and Fitness for Less out of business when we came in.
Yeah, because Worlds Springdale kind of was going on its way out anyway.
It was already in the way to Buffalo. I think Fayetteville was struggling just because, they hadn't changed anything in God knows how long.
Yeah.
And so, once people that were known in the lifting community started coming to us, it just went from there, right? And so those places I think were already spread really thin, trying to compete. And their issue, and this is also a thing to go back to business, but to me, their issue was they were trying to compete with the corporate facilities, so they were trying to compete with Planet or Fitness One. They're like, oh, we're going to be $10. You can't be $10.
Yeah.
That's too cheap. You don't have the overhead to just keep dumping into that. They do. And so you have to set yourself apart. And that's what we did. It's like, we're not them. We're never going to be them. We're going to cost more than them. And because we're better than them.
Did you get any pushback? Because last time we were talking, you were about to increase your prices, but you didn't. But then you have now.
I have now. We had to. It just, costs have gone up for everybody.
Did you get any pushback from that?
Of course.
Really?
Of course. Yeah.
We just increased our prices too, and we got positive feedback from everybody. Everybody's pretty understanding.
The thing, I would say the majority of it was positive.
Yeah.
But there's a handful of people that were like, I've got to quit because it's $5. And I'm like, man, that's $60 over the course of 12 months. If you break that down into the days that you're in the gym, that's like nothing, You try to do the math with them to keep them around, but some guys just see the $5 and they say, "Oh, it's $5." I'm like, "Yeah, it's $5." So.
And people don't realize like I've got my own gym. I've bought the equipment,
right?
And I know people like when the pandemic hit, everybody was buying their own stuff to make a home gym.
Sure.
Like if you try to build out your own home gym, like the amount of money you spend on getting a decent gym, like you'll probably never spend that on a membership. Like at a gym like yours.
Probably in a lifetime, right?
Yeah. So it's like having a good quality gym is definitely well worth its weight in gold.
I agree. I 100% agree. But I mean, it's like we have to convince them of that, right? And, through the value and then through what we produce. And so, we had some pushback. I wasn't surprised that we had some. Yeah. But majority were like, yeah, it's fine, whatever. I mean, it makes sense. You got to be more expensive. I think some guys would even say we should be even more expensive than we are.
I told you that, yeah.
Yeah. And basically like cap it. And, we decided to say that we're going to cap it, and we are going to cap membership just because there's only so much space in there. You know, it's 13,000 square feet now. So we will run out of space. So we have to have a number that we have in mind. And I don't think we'll hit anytime soon, but we put it there, right? Yeah. So... And I don't want to push anybody out either. Like, the pros and cons of that is if we go up in membership and say, hey, it's worth this. Like if we go up, and we go up quite a bit, I don't want to remove the ability for the college student or for a younger kid that wants to get into the scene to be able to use it. I don't want to push that kid to Planet or Fitness One or Crunch or any of those places. He's not going to learn anything there. In fact, what he's going to learn there is bad habits, right? Yeah. And then if he ever does get out of it, he's got to break those habits. Yeah. And wouldn't it be better just to have a place for them to go when they're 18 and come in and we can just take them under our wing and push them the right way, right?
Yeah, so, 100%, man. Yeah. And I feel like with these gyms that are doing like the $10 a month, $12 a month that have, the corporate ability to do so, like a lot of those members don't even go. Like, since it's such a low price point, they don't really care so much that they're paying every month. So they'll oftentimes have membership and go once a month.
Right.
I would imagine most people that go to your gym that have membership actually go to your gym.
So that's the coolest thing is we have, when was the last time I checked it? It was last month. It is a 68% check-in rate. So 68% of the members that we have use it daily.
Yeah, that's pretty damn good.
It's huge.
Most gyms are like, what, 10%?
Like 10%, especially something like a Planet or a Crunchland. Now, when the craziest numbers were when we first opened and we only had like 150 members, it was like 100% check-in rate. It was insane because those are the guys and girls that like just wanted to lift weights. So our check-in rate was insane. I'm still happy with almost 70%. I think that's great.
It's awesome.
But yeah, I mean, I'm striving to keep those kind of numbers. I want people in the gym. That's the difference. Corporate places like that don't want people in the gym. That's why they create low price points.
Yeah.
They want what they call sleeper members, somebody that's going to purchase something. It's so cheap, they're going to forget about it, and they're never going to cancel it.
That way they're not wearing and tearing their equipment.
Correct.
Yeah.
Because they don't have a whole lot. I mean, that's the reality is, even in a place like Planet or Crunch that just came in with 20,000 square feet or whatever it's got, if they have 10,000 members at $10, there's not enough space in there for 10K people. It's just not, period. Yeah. They don't have enough racks. They don't have enough cable. They don't have enough dumbbells. So they prefer you not to come.
Yeah.
When people start coming, that's when they realize, hey, it's crowded. I can't move around in here. Maybe I should look at somewhere else. And we've actually had a girl come in yesterday, actually, when I was at work. That was just, checking us out for the day because she was over at Crunch and she said, it's too crowded. And
Yeah.
I was like, well, come on in.
I'm cheating on you a little bit, bro.
No, that's all right. Go.
I went to both Fitness One and Crunch the other weekend to check them out.
Yeah.
Not because I'm going to cancel my membership.
No.
But because I need a tanning bed for my competition.
I understand,
prep.
dude. I understand.
So I'm looking at tanning bed situations.
Yeah.
And Fitness One doesn't have one, so they're out.
Does Crunch have one?
Crunch,
I know Planet has one too.
Yeah, but man, I don't know if I could do Planet. Like, I had membership at Planet when we were traveling a bunch. I had membership there because we were traveling so much. But like the fact that they don't have barbells,
it's terrible.
Like I can't justify a gym that doesn't have barbells. Like I could do everything I need with just a barbell.
And then the vibe in there, the environment is just so weird.
Yeah, so, it's not my gym.
It's
not my gym. Like they Planet Fitness is just not cool. Like people use it, and if you're using that as opposed to sitting on a couch, more power to you.
Look, right on. I'd rather you do that than do nothing.
Yeah. But like they specifically have a banner on their wall that says if you're wearing tank tops and drinking out of a gallon jug, then we don't want you here. That to me sounds kind of.
I know that's my life,
weird.
brother.
Yeah, sounds kind of like me. But Crunch, walked into Crunch. And they got a massive. I don't know what
it's not. It's big.
Have you been in there?
No, I haven't been in it. They push so many ads, right?
Yeah.
And like it all was popping up on my feed.
What was that building before it was Crunch?
It was Sears, I'm pretty sure.
Sears,
it was in the mall, right?
Yeah, it's in the mall. And it's huge, and it's all nice equipment.
Right.
But it's like the vibe, like I would not want to work out there. I'm going to get a membership there just for the tanning bed
right.
and the Stairmaster.
Sure.
That's the only thing I'm going to use.
Sure.
Because I don't want to be in there like I walked in and it's like my skin starts crawling, Like I would rather go to Ozark or go to my gym to train. I don't want to train at
I'm going to put in
this.
another stair mill too, buddy.
What about tanning bed? You going to give me a tanning bed?
I might do it just for you. I had to find a spot to put it, man.
Yeah, put it in your office.
I'll put it in the office. I would use it too if I had it there.
Yeah.
Especially for show prep. I mean, I completely get it, man. I mean, you need a tanning bed, you need a stair mill, and we only have the one stair mill, and it's very popular.
Yeah. But the thing is, if I get a membership at Crunch, I'm not going to not keep my membership at Ozark.
100%. Yeah.
Because if I'm picking one to stay afloat, I want it to be Ozark.
I appreciate that, brother.
I don't think people realize how big of an impact they make locally in the community. So, like, people just write that shit off. But, like, if you have a local gym that's good, support your local gym. If you have a local anything that's good, support that. Like, get your groceries locally. Get everything you can locally because – I don't know, man. Like, just simply not depending on the man and just leaning into those around you, I think, is key.
Reap what you sow.
Yeah.
That's the other thing too. Is I don't think a lot of these kids realize that. I saw something somebody said even about Crunch, like had made like some advertisement, like come support a local business. I'm like, that's not local business. That's a corporate facility. You may be franchised it, but there's probably multiple partners in that with way more money than I can shake a stick at.
And they got like 400 and some odd locations nationally.
That's not
like
local, man. Yeah. And I don't think people realize the impact that they make on small business with anything because, somebody told me this way smarter than me, and this completely makes sense, especially for this demographic and area. you're not getting new business when you come in. You're taking from something else, right? Yeah. So even when we came in, right, we took from other gyms. Those gyms ended up shutting down. But we just did it better, and I don't have a problem with that because, you know, if they were doing it right, they'd still be here. And I think the same thing for me. If we ever get to the point where we're not doing it right and somebody pushes us out, so be it. Then I should have got with the times. I should have done something different. I mean, that's just the way it works. That's the way capitalism works. But, you know, if they're taking their business over to a corporate place, I'm just losing some of that demographic. They're not getting new. It's not like people popped up all over the place in Northwest Arkansas and just decided to start going to Crunch. No, they were going somewhere else, and then they went there, right? Same thing with Planet. They were going somewhere else, now they're going to Planet. Yeah. So, support local, especially with small business. I try to, and, you know, the other thing, too, that I saw on a podcast one time was that, you know, if you want to support your friends, the best thing to do is, you know, support their business and their endeavors. You don't go and ask for friends and family discount to the guy that's like working 17 and a half hours a day, right? Yeah. Like, oh man, can I get a discount? Well, if you respect that person and you want to support them, why are you asking for a discount? Would you want to help them? So I look at things that way too. Like, I can't make things cheaper. I'm not making things expensive because I want them to be expensive. I'm making things costly based on our costs, period. Yeah.
And I think, like, that's super important. I've been really transparent with my audience when we increased our prices, and you've been super transparent with yours. And, like, you kind of have to put yourself in the shoes of your consumer, right? Because you want to do right by them.
100%. Yeah.
But they oftentimes don't understand what it's like on the other side, you know, from the business owner standpoint. And like you and I, we're not trying to make a killing. Like, that's not extra money going into our pocket. That's just like, we either go out of business and nobody gets any of this stuff. Right. Yeah. Or we increase prices and we may lose a few, but then we are able to stay afloat for those that do get it.
Absolutely.
And I think like that is just the way it works. It's the way of the world. And you just have to do that, or you just go out of business. It's 100%. Really that simple.
I had a guy comment. We made a post about the $5 increase, and I had a guy comment on it and say, oh, well, you can use that money now to buy XYZ. Yeah. Like buy another building or start another Ozark. And I'm like, do you understand that $5 from these accounts equates to paying bills for us? Like, you know, I didn't respond to it because there's no point. But that mindset, like you said, the consumer needs to understand, like, I'm not doing that just to do it. Yeah. I'm doing it because I'm looking at my margins. I'm looking at my lines and I'm going, we have to do this. Otherwise we're going to have problems in the future. Yeah. Right?
100%. Yeah. 100%. Well, talk to me about your personal goals, man. You just mentioned that you're about to do a little bit of a cut here, so to speak. So you've been on bulk mode, looking burly, and now you're gonna trim down a little bit.
I'm trying, man. I'm just trying not to look like a dad bod, right? Like, I'm 42. I'll be 43 this summer. That's just wild to even think about. Yeah. But I was looking at myself the other day, and I'm thinking my daughter's 2 now, right? So like, I want my daughter to look at me and think, that's what a man should look like, right? Like, this is what's ideal. He's active. He works out. This is what he looks like, right? He plays with me. He does these things. And so, like, that's my drive and my goal now. It's really shifted really hard, honestly, since my daughter was born. And I don't know if you felt the same way with your son, but everything now, I place her in front of it, if that makes sense. I'm like, I'm going to do this because it's going to benefit my kid, right? Whether it's with work or whatever. And it's just wild to to have that feeling for something where it's the only thing that I can say for sure that I've ever just like unconditionally loved, where it's like, I want nothing but the best thing for my kiddo. And so, I'm doing a cut right now. I'm not liking the way I look, but so I'm only 2 weeks in, so I'm going to do 8. I go pretty hard in the paint. I mean, you know that. So
you drop your calories pretty quick.
I drop them pretty quick.
What were you at, and what are you down to now?
I was at 28. I'm already at 22.
How long are you going to keep that low? Just as long as it takes?
As long as it's still working. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, here's the thing. I'm great at telling other people what to do the right way. I'm terrible at doing that for myself. I don't know. Like, I really am, man. I'm going to do as I say, not as I do kind of guy. Yeah. I know what I'm doing is not the best way to do it. I already know that. I'm just like, you know what? If I can sustain 2,200 and keep dropping fat and maintaining strength, well, I'm going to do it. Yeah. And so, I mean, it's only 2 weeks. I'll probably have to bring it back up. I'm already feeling tired.
Yeah.
You know, so
well, when you got the new building and you were doing a renovation of the other half,
yeah,
which is kind of where you've been here lately, the past several months.
Yeah,
there was like a stretch there where you weren't working out for like a month, maybe.
Yeah, it's terrible.
Like, what does that feel like? I don't think I was trying to talk to my employee Bryce the other day. I'm like, I don't think I've ever gone more than a week.
Yeah.
Without working out. So like a month when that's like what you live and breathe, man. Like when you're going crazy.
I honestly, like, I think I was just like getting down on myself mentally too, right? Because I was getting mad at myself for not making the time. Mm-hmm. But you know what I was doing was spending all day like knocking out walls and laying floors. So I'm moving around.
Yeah.
But I'm not lifting weights. That's right.
Yeah.
So I'm like, man, this sucks. You know, I had to justify it to myself and say, well, you know, I'm cutting out walls. I'm doing construction work. I'm laying floor. Like, you know, I'm getting work and I'm burning calories. But no, I shrunk for sure. I mean, it's just.
Was there a pretty tangible drop in strength, or you feel like you regained it all now?
I gained it back.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, there's always a dip. You know what's cool? Muscle memory to me is legit, right?
Yeah,
it is
for sure.
thing, right? And the coolest thing that I ever learned a long time ago was that, you know, the muscle cells and the fat cells in our body, we're born with them, right? We're born with the number that we got. And we can either grow them or shrink them based on what we do with them. And I think that is a really cool thing when you think about it. I mean, there's a lot that you can dive into there.
Yeah.
But how cool is it that we're in complete control of whether we grow muscle or lose muscle, grow fat or lose fat, right? And it's all about the decisions that we make, how we treat our bodies, what we put into our bodies, how we exercise, or if we don't exercise. So yeah, I lost a little bit of strength and it sucked. I mean, it's a month, man.
Yeah.
But I'm also, you know me, I came right back in hard in the paint and started hitting it like, you know, the same way I was hitting it before. Now the numbers were different, but I'm just doing the same splits. And so my body was like, oh, okay, we're doing that again. Let's go.
Yeah.
You know, and as long as you're eating accordingly, I think it's fine. You know, you just don't want to over push yourself. It's not like I'm going to go back and put the same weight on the bar. I'm not going to go in there and put 405 on the bar and like go, okay, I'm squatting this now.
Yeah.
You know, I got to work back up.
Nice.
So
we're about to do some squats today, right?
Let's go. Yeah.
All right. You about ready to work out, man?
Yeah, man. Let's do it.
We're doing a little bit of hamstrings, mostly leg focus, right? I've been doing full body, but you've been doing leg.
I know, man. And
today.
I even thought like if you want to, I can do full body today. I did back yesterday, but I don't mind.
We can do a bit
this is your house, man. So
we can do a
you
bit
know,
everything.
yeah,
I'm down.
Yeah.
I do wish I had a hack squat like you got. That's the one piece of equipment that I'm really
love that hack squat.
It's a legit piece of
It
equipment.
is legit.
So we're gonna go work out. I think it may be raining outside, so we may have to not do our parking lot lunges,
Right.
or we can just say screw it and do our parking lot lunges in the rain.
And I'm
That'd be
okay with
pretty
that.
hardcore.
And I'm okay with it.
Where do people go to find out more about Ozark Iron, man?
Man, you can go to our Instagram, Ozark Iron Gym, or you can go to our website, ozarkirongym.com, and check us out. All of our stuff is there. Again, like you said, we're super transparent. Our prices, our actual pictures of our equipment in our gym are on there. And so check us out. Yeah, come by. It's $10 for a day if you just want to pop in.
Yeah, and I 100% vouch. Anybody that's living in this area or within 45 minutes of that gym should most certainly train there as opposed to anywhere else.
I appreciate that, man.
So
I do.
100%, man.
Yeah.
Well, pleasure as always, brother. Let's get a workout on, man.
Yeah, let's do it.